We're there. We're so close. We are closer than we've ever been. I mean, to winning presidency, to having a progressive actually win the presidency. I mean, we haven't had a president like this since FDR, honestly. And so that's where, having the opportunity to have somebody like Bernie Sanders, who basically just FDR, he's not as radical as people want you to think. The dude's a moderate. By the global standard, he's a moderate. And in fact, even by American standards, he's actually a moderate. Joe Biden is extremist. Joe Biden's extremist for corporations. He's not extremist like Trump, but he's extremist in a different way. He's extremist in the neoliberalism and the defending of the power structures in America. But most people are actually not with his ideas. The exit polls of Super Tuesday and all the other previous states show that Medicare for all is overwhelmingly popular. In some states, it's like over 60-something%, almost 70%. In some states, it's over 50%. But in every single state, it was a majority. So that tells us we are more united than we think across the aisle, whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or you don't identify with either party. Most of these ideas are actually incredibly popular. And the only reason why they have not passed is because of the corporate structures that have prevented these bills from passing, that have bought out the politicians that won't let you pass the bills or even write the bills or even get it to the fucking floor in the first place. Okay? So in order for us to do that, we have to start taking back this power, and we have to do it aggressively. We can't be I'm going to be nice and play by the rules. Like, no, they're going to smear you. They're going to misrepresent you. They're going to disingenuously represent you and argue against your ideas because they know that they have no leg to stand on. They are weak. They are weak. They have a lot of money, but they are a paper tiger, and they will fall the second that you challenge them. But we need to challenge them in a meaningful way, and we cannot allow our fear of Trump to prevent us from going for what we want. We can't keep voting for the lesser of two evils. We learned that lesson in 2016. We put up Hillary Clinton, the most qualified person ever to go for president, right? And even though I don't like her, she arguably was the most qualified person of all time. But qualified for what? Qualified for being in the corporate interest, qualified for being in the neoliberal establishment, and qualified for being in a government that hasn't worked for people in over 40 years. So, yeah, she was the most qualified, but she lost. And the reason why she lost is because people, it's not even that they want unqualified people. They just don't want people who bought into a system and sold themselves out and lost their principles. And that's why Bernie Sanders is so appealing, because he's been in this system for decades and he has not sold himself out. He has not taken corporate money. He has not shown in any way that he's willing to play ball in the way that we don't want them to play ball. Now, I would like him to play a little bit more ball in terms of the game of politics to win his ideas and to be aggressive, but he's a principled man, and unfortunately, sometimes there are certain things he's just not going to do. He's too nice. But I'd like to see more of that. So, let's get more people to that place where we are happy, where we are living our lives, where we are making ends meet, where we are doing well. And, because I'm coming from a place of privilege where I feel like I've attained that for myself, it is one of my duties as somebody who has gotten to that level for myself to help other people get to their level. You can't help other people until you help yourself. So the best way that you can do this is help yourself first, get yourself in a good place. And then we need to start helping our community. Community is important. There are people who are selfish, who don't give a fuck, who are not going to help. We don't even need all of them. We just need enough of people like you and myself to work together, to work on these things, to fight these corporate structures, to fight these power structures and these racist institutions in places where it hurts. And we have more power. We have the people. We have the majority. We just need to organize, and that's the biggest thing. They're organized in a way that we aren't. They have the money and the resources, but believe it or not, and Bernie Sanders has proved this. He raised $46.5 million in February, okay? We got the money too if we were smart and organized on it. Now, luckily, Bernie's got such a good organized situation. He's got he's over 1 million volunteers. He has developed the apparatus and the infrastructure for this movement, and it lives beyond him. So beyond this presidency, that system is in place. These connections have been made. These relationships have been formed where we can continue the fight much further beyond his presidency or beyond even if he doesn't win. to continue to fight these fights and to win in the districts and the places that we can, that can allow us to slowly take back power. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. It is not something where it's going to be like the movies and, the hero wins at the end. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be tough. They're going to wage psychological warfare on us. We have every single establishment against us, including the intelligence agencies, which have been known to overthrow governments in other countries. There's no reason to believe that they wouldn't try to do the same shit here in America. And I'm not saying that to be conspiratorial. It just is what it is, right? They preserve their interests and they have certain interests in mind, and they go rogue all the time. And we find out later, declassified shit, decades later. So, I think it's really important for us to stay focused, stay determined. Let's not give up. We still can win this. Joe Biden's a paper tiger. He's going to fall apart, and we got this. Okay? Let's fucking go. Seriously. Viva la revolution. For real. But even more than just the revolution, how about this shit's not that radical? These policies are not that radical. We can do this. It's so common sense, and it's so overwhelmingly popular, even with people who would not consider themselves radical or even left. There are people that would agree with us. You just have to message to them in a way that they understand that what we're proposing isn't that radical, and it's not going to change their life dramatically for the worse. It's going to actually change it dramatically for the better. And that's the case we got to make. Peace.